me? Okay, cool. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy I was able to organize this crypto liberation community meetup. So the thing is, why I decided to do that. So the first thing is that crypto liberation movement is booming everywhere. At least I perceive it in this way. And also, crypto liberation communities are growing in many different countries, especially we can see it in Europe, not only in Czech Republic, Slovakia, but also in Germany, in Spain, in Austria, and I hope in many other countries. And that was the reason that I decided to invite representative of these crypto liberation communities to this discussion panel. And all these people will present you their project, their place they are building, and also the interesting project they are focused on. And I strongly believe this may be a motivation for you to join their communities, or maybe to start your new own one community. So firstly, let me introduce all my friends here. So from the left, I start from the left. Juraj Bednar. Juraj is representative of Parallel Police in Bratislava, Slovakia. Smuggler. Smuggler is from Berlin, founder of Anarplex and container community. Jörg Platzer from like famous place Room 77 in Berlin. So as you can see, like crypto liberation community is really strong in Berlin. Martin Leskovian. Martin Leskovian is representative of Parallel Police in Prague. He's also the speaker of our contemporary artistic group Stohoven. Then Nelson Menela. Nelson is founder of Parallel Police in Barcelona. We are really looking forward to this beautiful place and definitely want to visit it very soon. He can tell us more information about this project. Then Gideon Galash. Gideon is the founder of Blockchain Hotel in Essen, in Germany. And Tomáš Kanoc, he's the founder of new Parallel Police in Košice, Slovakia. So, guys, thank you a lot for coming here, for being here. And now it's your turn. So I would like to ask you to present your community, maybe in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Some of you have slides, so don't hesitate to use them.
Of course you can.
Hello. Okay, perfect. So I have some pictures from Parallel Police Bratislava, Parallel Nápoles. We tend to use the local language version. So in Barcelona, it will be Polis Paralela. So we kind of try to adapt to local environment. And here you can see the Bitcoin Coffee. As you can see, it's a one larger building. We don't have a good separation of coffee. So in the back you see Institute of Crypto Anarchy and our co-working spaces on the small floor that you can climb up the stairs. We call it the moon because we believe that every step you take to the moon brings crypto to the moon. Why I wanted to show you this picture is because you can recognize the concepts of the original Parallel Police in Prague. We try to replicate all the ideas and the interactions between the spaces. I think it is very important that these parts of Parallel Police work together. So I don't think it makes much sense to create just an institute of crypto anarchy, because you can have a hackerspace, and it could be much cheaper. Even if you want to just do talks, you can rent a room with a projector and do talks in a pub anywhere. It doesn't matter. So what makes Parallel Police is using these interactions of different parts and kind of letting it interact. But also, you can see that this place is very different to Prague. So the reason is that that the space and the space itself, but also the community is generated by the people that are there, and people have different interests, different approaches to things. So we try to be different as well. We try to experiment with different approaches, and we hope that with all these crypto communities we can get inspired. So, for example, after discussions with Smuggler and other people from Berlin, we realized that our naive version of, oh, we will liberate everyone because that's obviously what everyone needs, more freedom, everyone is striving for that. We realized that actually most people don't care about freedom at all, and it's about finding the right people who actually strive for more freedom, and it's our job to show them how to achieve it, how to get it. So we also do talks with speakers. This is Pavel's talk on getting more financial freedom, I think, taken from the moon. So there's some other talks, and what we are trying to build here is something that is inspired by the idea of Parallel Police, by the physical space here in Prague, but we also try to implement other ideas from other communities, such as you will hear about. We also finally painted the building black and put up the logo. I think this is very interesting part of what we do and what is actually different to other communities that try to stay more private. So a lot of people, when they talk about Parallel Police, they say, okay, the only reason why you can do this idea of parallel society is because you live in a free liberal democracy and it allows parallel societies. That's not true. It allows us to have a nice building with a sign, but parallel societies were actually common in horrible regimes, in states like China. There were tongs, which were temporary autonomous zones and communities of people that could not put a sign on the building. They were hiding from the state. And what I wanted to mention, that this strategy works in any kind of environment. I'm positive that it could work in much worse, much less free societies, but the form would be different. And we are all here, these people, we are trying to find the form that works in the particular environment and in their particular community. So that's why I think this is very inspiring. We like to relax. We do competitions about logos and merch, so we kind of try to grow and experiment with other things. We also had a visit from the police in our opening party, which was very interesting, because I'm sure that they believed that they landed on the moon because they couldn't comprehend what is going on and what the other people are talking about. So they were happy to leave. If you would like to experience the space, the best thing you can do is to come to Bratislava and visit it during an event. If you cannot do it or are are a proponent of an eco-religion and you think that that you're killing our planet by traveling to Bratislava, then you can try our VR experience where you can just see it with your phone and kind of look around. So if the few pictures don't make justice to the place, you can explore it yourselves. But please come; that's much better. So thank you.
Thank you a lot.
I have to stand as well. Okay, I'm from Berlin, and we do something a little bit different than Parallelly and Parallelna Polis and all the other policies. We're specifically trying to experiment with shipping containers, community, and combine that into a model to run temporary autonomous zones. Next slide. Okay. So number one, what we're trying to do out of those containers is to create a surveillance-free or low surveillance zone. Countermeasures that we're developing against surveillance, like even acoustic surveillance and video and whatever, we try to have a little bit of our own security so we don't need to call the police if things go wrong. We're trying to experiment a little bit with how one could run physical communities without the state. That is one of the reasons we use the shipping containers, because you can own your own container, your own piece of the whole. And if you don't like it anymore, or you don't like your neighbor, you can just move and you don't have to involve complicated court processes or fight publicly or anything like that. Because we're trying to keep it as state-free as possible, including what can be done there or cannot be done there, we use the shipping containers that allow us to, should the escalation with the state become a little bit too high, we can pack up everything and move somewhere else without losing capital. One thing we really suck at, but we really try it, and that is building community. So we're not very big. We're like 10, 11, 12 people or something like that. However, those people that we have are really cool, and we have really good relationships. And there are a lot of like smaller projects in the context of building such a TAZ. So thinking about anti-surveillance technology, but also fixing roofs and building roofs and solar panels and famous toilet projects. This is from one of the meetups we did. You see the containers from the outside. Some of them are built out, some are not. They will be soon, hopefully. We're saying that for the last 2 years. And we're having an open air event there, and very famous is our steak reactor. So if you like meat, we have the best way to make meat. So, okay, next slide. This thing doesn't work. Give me one more, please.
Then you have just 2 slides.
Yeah, they're useless. No, forward. Okay, it's not this thing, it's my presentation format. Probably.
No.
Yeah, Anyways, I'm gonna continue without slides. Apart from building shipping containers and everything that belongs to it, we have a membership-based model. So you can become a member after convincing us that you're cool, and we convincing you that you're cool. We are cool. And exactly, more. Go to the last slide. And It involves a fee, of course. There's a small fee. The famous containers, toilets. Then we have weekly meetups where we do work and social get-together and stuff like that. We have a monthly public meetup that we actually announce on meetup.com. It's the cypherpunk meetup. Plus that we're a space where our members can hang out anytime they want, 24/7. Hack, sleep there, which apparently is a common behavior, or just have a good time with people you trust. Thank you.
Thank you a lot. Jörg, your turn.
Is it working? It's working. Yeah, so to be quite honest, I didn't actually know that Room 77 was a crypto liberation community until I received the invite to this panel.
Yeah.
But I think what we also can see here that crypto liberation communities, whatever the definition is, look quite different, quite interesting actually. If I would have brought pictures of Room 77 now, what I just found really interesting is that the Parallel Polis and other places in Eastern Europe all look really stylish, designish, and clean, whereas every place in Berlin looks like a scrap metal place.
That's intentional.
It must have been some kind of aesthetics. I think actually we Berliners serve the cypherpunk aesthetics better than you over here. But anyway. So yeah, I brought no presentation. I can just spend a few minutes to talk about Room 77, what that is. 15 years ago, a friend of mine and I opened a bar and restaurant just for fun. We wanted to have our own place for a year or so, where we could play music and have our own bar, which was very easily doable in Berlin and in certain parts of Berlin at the time, because you could like really rent a place, a bar, a restaurant for kind of pocket money for change. Okay. Obviously the place ran for a little longer than a year than it was planned, which had to do with the gastronomical success of it. Anyhow, 5 years later or 6 years later, Bitcoin comes around. It was actually around the time where we started thinking about we should finally sell that place. How did this rock and roll bar and restaurant then turn into this kind of hub for Bitcoin, crypto, blockchain people? The initial moment was when we started accepting Bitcoin, to find out that we were literally the first bricks and mortar business on the planet that did so. And back at the time, any media coverage about Bitcoin was literally about drug dealers and tax evasion. If you have an article about Bitcoin, the only images you could see was a person like this from behind, in front of a screen with source code on it. You know. Anyhow, when word got around, let me say first, for the back then really tiny Bitcoin community. I mean, you literally knew everybody on the planet somehow through the forums. You knew every project anybody was doing on Bitcoin. So first of all, the early Bitcoin community was absolutely delighted about the fact that somebody is actually selling something physical for Bitcoin. And the biggest effect, though, was the media coverage, because that place then started attracting media from all over the planet, just for the simple reason because they could go to an actual place and talk to actual people who would show their face into the camera, and who would explain like that they're normal people doing normal stuff, like buying dinner or getting drunk, and at the end of the night pay in Bitcoin. So we were a big source of pictures for the media back then. So these things develop their own dynamics, and of course the place attracted Bitcoiners from all over Berlin, then from all over Germany, and then there were, I think it was the summers of 2012 and 13. We called like the crypto summers in Berlin, because you had developers from all over the world coming to Berlin to work together in unannounced hackathons and stuff like that. Anyhow, that's how that place turned into what I now learned is a crypto liberation community. What is it today? Because I think this was just the history of the room. I think today it actually deserves that name, because the absolute main focus of the place and the majority of its customers are Bitcoiners, a few Ethereum guys, Monero people. We have, I believe, the longest running monthly meetup on the planet, still running in Berlin. On the first Thursday of the month, we have a Monero meetup. On the second Thursday, we have the secret Bitcoin meetup on the third. Secret in so far, do never mention it on social media, please. The secret meetup is literally there because when the Bitcoin price is high, we have so many journalists on the official meetup that Bitcoiners actually don't want to go there anymore. And then when the price is high, Bitcoiners go to the secret. Anyhow. But what we also have, and what I find absolutely incredible is, oh Jesus, there's people having pictures of the room here. Thank you. What I find really absolutely fascinating is that Room 77 has turned into a place where people experiment with new technologies in Bitcoin. So it's quite regularly when you have a new technology, let me put it this way, the first mobile wallet was built by Andreas Schildbach because he saw the need to be able to go to this place and pay for his dinner without having to bring his laptop. Like, you know, you have this kind of experimenting field. You think like, wow, there's Bitcoin. It's going to conquer the world. And it's there and it's finished. And then the first person wants to pay in Bitcoin at your bar, and they start typing in 34 digits into their laptop and then want to send a transaction. And the laptop says, that's not a valid Bitcoin address. Anyhow, so we had the first Bitcoin ADM, I think, in Europe there. We had people... We had a lightning hackathon, not at Room 77, but in Berlin, organized by Fulmo. But the guys there came there on a Friday and said, hey, on Sunday evening, we would like to be able to pay at Room 77 via the Lightning Network. And they worked for 48 hours and came on Sunday evening, installed their Lightning solution, and we could pay via Lightning. Actually, the bottom line, I think, is that what turned my bar into the place that it is now today, that wasn't me. That was actually the community that started developing around it. I think what Room 77 did was merely provide a very early platform that was very welcoming, that was very inviting, to people, where people could feel free and saw the potential that they could bring in their own ideas and build their own tech there. And this is going till today. We have, like, every year I see new members, new very creative and productive members in that community coming in. I meet new people all the time. And after a while you realize that is such a beautiful contribution to this community. Yeah, so as I said, bottom line is we provided a platform that just hit the sweet spot, and every Bitcoiner was like, this is the kind of place where I want to go. The interesting thing is, to say that at the end, what I find out is that the good people, or let's say, you have a lot of people come in, you have a lot of people come and then leave the community again. It's the not so cool people who come and go, and it's the really cool people who come and stay. Which I also think the only reason for that can be that it is literally a community with its own kind of ethos and morals, ethics, and ideals. And people who cannot quite follow these, yeah, just come look at it. Probably lose some money because they thought they come here to become Bitcoin millionaires or something like that. Then they don't do that and they leave again. That's about all I can say about Room 77 in this context, I believe.
Thank you. Now, Parallel Polis Prague.
I would like to mention for the beginning that I don't have any slides because obviously you can attend all the premises of Parallel Polis and see them with your own eyes. So I would like to sum up some recent news and new projects that we that we hope will have impact on the community life and will hopefully enlarge it and deepen it. So the first one that is presented for the first time here in a more like defined version is the Decent Track that you can see on the courtyard. Decent Track is a concept that targets primarily towns and cities or events like festivals all around Czech Republic. This was this year's mission to open it and to test it. And the idea is basically to make a compressed concept of Parallel Polis and its program on wheels and be able to come and set it up anywhere, basically. So today, this year, we have tested like 4 times on some festivals how it works and how people react. The results are very good, so we've decided to make next steps, and now we are going to push crowdfunding to establish the track and see where communities deserve the track to come. When I say deserve, it means that we will meet some activity of local people that will really be attracted and interested the track to come, and will help us to organize all necessary measures to do so, which means to help us to find a place, to participate on funding, to help with the program and so on. So it's not only during Parallel Polis as a service, but we want to head primarily to towns and cities and places where already is some at least bunch of people that is interested in whatever digital freedom, crypto, whatever, and or any aspect of Parallel Polis, and would like to have a trial version of Parallel Polis in their place. So we plan to have like something like week till months stops in different places, and we hope that next year we will cover a couple of cities and places in Europe. And then there are lots of very wild plans where else the track can go, but it's a question of future development. Next significant project that has been launched not so long ago is Media Hub, or Media Lab, sorry, that is underground under Bitcoin Coffee in Parallel Polis, where previously 3D printing lab was, and Media Lab is now consists of streaming place where you can come and stream with professional equipment, like immediately almost. So it should enable to create more and more video content and podcasts and so on. And then there is a small working place where we would like to attract journalists to come and work, and we are gonna offer some temporary programs, like a couple of months of let's say internship or training connected with practical work in technical and little bit more sophisticated and complicated topics we are talking about, because we feel that media coverage of topics we deal with in Parallel Polis is still quite poor and not educated. So we would like to improve it and to give journalists ways how to refer about it better, and of course the security of journalists and their independence as well, big topic worldwide as well. So it's also some direction Media Lab would like to work. For this purpose, we've joined with a fund for independence of journalists. So they help us to define what really interests the journalists. Next place we've recently opened is newly gained places right in the next building beside Parallel Polis. We've received the keys a couple of days ago, and the purpose of this place will be extension of our co-working place, but it will work on a little bit different principles. We call it for now a curated co-working, which means that we will select projects that will be present in this co-working, and those projects should be more project based, more related to the core topics of Parallel Polis, which means crypto technologies, anonymization, privacy, decentralization, and so on. So we will try to create a more exclusive place, and hopefully one day it will develop into some incubator or something like this for crypto projects. On this, we test a cooperation with one of our sponsors, the Rockaway blockchain. So we will see how far this cooperation will go, and maybe how far this project will continue. I would like to mention that in Parallel Polis, the basic way we start project is not that we completely plan everything, how it will be in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, to have a budget and everything, because usually when we start any project like this, for example, incubator, and we meet people who are professionals in doing incubators, they tell us, oh, so you need 2,000 euros to start, you need this panel of advisors, etc., etc. So it's for us it would be completely not doable. So we try to start from scratch with one pilot project, and see if we will succeed in a little bit different way than is usual. So the whole polis is based on this attitude. In terms of community life, I would say the same as Jörg told about secret Bitcoin meetups. The same problem we were solving here, that the common public Bitcoin meetups were sometimes too overcrowded by speculants or journalists or people who simply don't care about the basic values and principles of Parallel Polis and are just going to learn how to get rich. So we've established a club of Parallel Polis, which is more exclusive. There are some principles how to gain trust among the people. So only people who are approved can enter this club, and it's got its own program. Now it have its own leader who creates all the program and manages what the members need and want. And I think this works very well. At the end, I would like only to mention that recently we as a community leave some idealistic vision of leadership of our organization based on totally decentralized principle, without any leader and manager, just a self-managing community, which was repeatedly failing during last 5 years we've opened. So now we try to learn how to establish some fair and transparent leadership that will be able to deal with increasing amount of people who are paid for their work in Parallel Police, which is almost 10 people now. It's quite a lot. So we are like a professional firm, or we should be, to be able to do these punk projects like Disintrack and so on. So we try to professionalize a little bit how the core organization work. And we also deal a lot with new ways of communication. The Media Lab is one of examples, focused at the audio and video content. But we also have lots of headaches with Facebook. So we try to search for other alternatives which are not. So we at least switch more and more to Twitter, and explore possibilities to use, for example, Telegram channels as in some ways to communicate with wider communities without necessity to be completely on Facebook, which I totally hate. But I know that it's the most effective way to communicate, and if you want to educate, you need to communicate with as wide public as possible. And the last thing I leave up to following discussion. So thank you. That's what is new in policy.
Okay. Thank you a lot, Martin. And now we have representative from Parallel Police Barcelona, or Police Paralela
Exactly.
Barcelona, Nelson. So it's your turn.
What's that? Oh no, I don't have slides. So yeah, I'm Nelson Medina. I live in Barcelona. I came here to represent Police Parallel. So I guess we are the new kids on the block. We're still in gestation, not open yet. One of our co-founders is still there, literally digging a hole and building stairs in the building. So what we're trying to do is first, I guess the project started with the Polytechnics Academy project by Amir Taki, and how it came to be in Barcelona is that he met this co-founder, found the space and wanted to do it there. And then the other question, what to do else? And that's how we got connected to Juraj and to Pavel and all the Police Parallel team. And after a few months of trying to make the perfect plan and having the perfect model, we understood that the best way to do it is just go step by step and simply open. So the project is to have the minimum version with the co-working and the cafe by end of the year, and then from there get more people involved and have them create whatever version of the Police Paralela that we can create for Catalonia. And yeah, I'm looking forward for you guys, if you come to Barcelona, to come and visit, even if it's not open yet, and you will see what we can create. Thank you.
Okay, thank you a lot. Gideon?
So, hey. Yeah, I'm Gideon from the Blockchain Hotel in Essen. It's not Berlin. It's in the west of Germany. What we basically do, what we offer is workshops from the beginner stuff, how to install a wallet, up to developer workshops on Ethereum, for example. Yeah, we have, as you can see, a nice rooftop where all our panel discussions are. Maybe you can find the one or the other face that you know around here. We also host one of the first Bitcoin conferences, before it was cool, I think, and also a monthly meetup. Yeah, everybody who's in Germany and like to join our location is welcome all the time. It's basically also a hotel, so you can also spend the night there. We have very nice suites, sorry. There should come another photo later. And this is basically our winter garden, where the main station is, where the talks are happening. And yeah, this is the front. And we have a huge restaurant with a buffet all the time. It's all day long. You can eat there and yeah, meet the local communities. As you can see, it's more kind of yeah, easy come together. It's not this no suits and yeah. I think let's just scroll this some impressions and I'm looking forward to meet you there. Thank you.
Okay. And now our representative from Parallel Police Košice, Tomáš.
Test. Okay. So I just prepared some presentation slides about the evolution of Parallel Police Košice. By the way, PPKE is just the short. Slovaks know what does it mean. Like PP is for Parallel Police and KE is just for Košice. So you know what does that PPKE mean. So I got some I would call it a roadmap or our history here, what we went through. So basically I got it called in the chapters. The first one would be on shoulders of giants, I call it. It's the way how we began to function. And basically the whole idea of getting Parallel Police Košice going just emerged on the HCPP 17 Congress. That's when we were first time here, and there were already 3 core members who we were doing some stuff for the community, like running nodes and things like that, but we wanted to do something more, and we didn't know really what to do. And at the Congress we learned and we knew, okay, so we would like to create something like this. But first, it wasn't really, we were not thinking about creating our own police, because then we found out that they are working on Parallel Police Bratislava. So I wrote Uri an email that, hey Uri, I heard about Parallel Police Bratislava. It's a cool project, we'd like to help. And he's like, don't help us, do your own. So that's how we got to Parallel Police Bratislava in January 2018. And Uri just created a wonderful day for us, full of brainstorming and meeting people from Parallel Police and INES, an institution in Slovakia, a think tank. And we just gathered a huge amount of motivation and ideas. And basically that's what really started creating the whole thing. And then the next step I would call baby steps, when we really started like thinking it can be done. And a huge help, of course, came from Parallel Police Bratislava, because they had the members, they had Facebook, they had the web page up, they had newsletter and things like that. So that's where they announced Parallel Police Košice. And that's how we started meeting people. And then those people were like, okay, this is a decentralized project, so why don't we have our own stuff, our own web page and things like that? And one of the first guys that contacted us, Roman, is a web developer. And we really like people that are, I call them makers or builders. And they're not asking you what they should do, but they're saying like, oh, hey, I think you need a web page. How about I create it for you? And we're like, okay, yeah, do it, please. So basically, this web page and all the Instagram channels and things like that, Twitter, you can find it on the web page. Those came along during that discussion with those new people that they wanted to create something. Then we were thinking how to somehow get the idea out to the public, or at least try to advertise it to the people. That's the phase that I call the guerrillas. It was done from June last year. And basically what we did, we were doing some, we call it guerrilla marketing. We were doing some signs and putting them all over Košice with some funny messages, like Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin is a bubble, and things like that. So you can see the preparation step here. Like these are the signs. There were QR codes that led you to a web page which says Bitcoin is dead. This is Bitcoin is a bubble in Slovak. Then this one is Bitcoin is a scam. Bitcoin is a bubble again, and Bitcoin is dead, right? And it's all over the place in Košice. And the interesting thing was that people started really asking other people that, hey guys, do you know who is responsible for this? People are saying shit and things like that. Like, is it a scam? What's this about? So we started doing like this guerrilla marketing, and it had an interesting impact. Then we decided to do some some open bazaar things, and we were like, okay, we should open an open bazaar, but we should be selling something, right? What to sell? So the first thing, okay, we got T-shirts, that's fine, and then something maybe useful. So that's how one of our members, this is how one of our members decided, oh, let's do a seed word, like a place where you can put the seed words nicely. It has the Paranapolis logo, and you can use it, and it's something that's useful, right? You can use the mnemonic seed. And basically, this is open source. You can find how to 3D print it on our GitHub. This was done as well by Roman and some other guys around the Paranapolis group. And it just came out of, like, out of the community. It was something that was ordered. It was like, hey, let's do this. Then we were thinking that, okay, now maybe people know about us, but they never met us, right? And we don't have a building yet in Košice, so we needed a place to meet. And then one of the institutions, or how you want to call it, it's called Kino Usmav. They decided, well, we were talking to them like, hey, how about we create some meetup or some grand opening for Paranapolis Košice so people know us, and can we do some payments? So we wanted to have all payments in crypto, things like that. And like, okay, sure, you can do it. So that's like a meetup when we announce Paranapolis Košice, the ATM and things like that. And that's when we basically revealed that the guerrilla marketing is something that we were doing. And if you were doing the guerrilla marketing, different QR codes were sending you to different places in the city. And once you finished it, you went to the Paranapolis webpage. So that was the guide. And then, so basically these are the steps that we've done. And the next basically slide talks about the future. So we realized that we shouldn't have like huge goals that we cannot meet. So we should have smaller goals that are doable. And well, the first thing was that we already met this year that there were 3 of us at the beginning. So we wanted to double the core team. So it's more than double. It's like 7 or 8 guys that help us. Then we decided that, okay, so now it's maybe the time to go out and start creating content regularly, like blog posts and podcasts. We're already working on it. But we tried it before, and it doesn't work in a way that you start doing it and then you stop, right? So we have to prepare it in front and create some buffers. So right now we're working on that. And of course, the building. Now is the time when we are negotiating with some people about the building, because now we really feel that it should be done and it's needed. It wasn't needed till now. So that's the goals. And basically, the lessons learned are the same, I think, as for other guys. That yeah, we don't want to be there for every single person on this planet, and we need to let people to come to us, and to maybe show the light, show ourselves in the communities where it's like high chance to find people that are of the same, I would say, blood type. So. And of course, make it fun, not a living. So do not try to profit from it or whatever. It will not work then. Okay, thanks. And if you want to see our webpage, you can see it there or write us an email.
So thank you a lot, guys, for presenting your communities. Now it's question time. And I prepare some question and I try to be fair. So you will ask one question. I'm going to ask one question. We are going to ask one question. Okay.
And when am I saying something?
Yeah.
You were asked.
So the question. Okay. Put a microphone.
Hello. I'm not sure like who is the question is referred, but I guess to all of you. So I have 2 questions. One is how you decide which member to get in and which member not to get in, and the second is how the membership model work. Is it like WeWork, or there is a couple of like people together, a group, or it's individuals that are just renting the space for a day, and yeah.
So the decision on who can become a member is a decision of the community. So
Maybe wait a minute.
yeah,
Just wait a minute.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody who wants to leave before the Q&A leaves now, so we wait for a minute.
Yeah.
And everybody else move further down.
Maybe this Q&A will be just for us.
Yeah. I want to go to that other talk as well.
You can leave as a virtual smuggler.
The part is only about to begin, right?
Free Bitcoin.
Chápem. Jasné, určitě. Dobré.
It gets more cozy.
All right, looks like the mainstream is over. um, so how do we decide on members? So everyone has a veto right. So if anyone in the community thinks someone is not a good fit, they're not getting in, no matter how many other people like them. We try to make this decision very carefully. We do not try to maximize the number of members currently. So that means that we like to tell people to become volunteers first, kind of get to know us. We should get to know them, and it's not only about growth. So by the fact that it's something that takes a lot of our time, we like to spend it with people we like and we interact with. And it's basically, as Jörg said, that the good people stay, and yeah.
Not so cool people come and leave.
Yeah.
People stay.
So it has been a quite positive experience doing it this way. So what I wanted to tell you before everyone left was, and then I will answer the second question, is that when we started this in Prague and also in Bratislava, everyone told us that we are crazy. You know, doing something only on Bitcoin, it cannot work, and so on. So for us, it's like telling us the sky is blue. We already knew that we are crazy. But what is so right now you're experiencing survivorship bias because you are listening to people that made it, and there are a lot of people who were crazy and they were not able to pull it off. The community didn't work. So so the community, the people who built the space or the crypto liberation community, they're really generated by the community, these places. It's not like you cannot rent a building and make it work without people. So so this is the most important aspect. And even when I'm speaking to people who want to start parallel police and they start looking for a building, I ask them, okay, so how many members of the community there are? And if they say 3, then I say, don't look for a building, look for the community first, and then you can together figure out if you get a container or a bar, or you meet somewhere else, or it's enough to build your own or build in your own space or rented space. So this is very important, and I'm very happy to say that my view is much nicer than yours right now, because you guys had to look at us, but we all see a lot of crazy people that come to these conferences, and the reason that this all works is because there are enough people like you that care about it, that care about freedom and care about creating this community. So so I think that's the most important thing, and people should take their time in curating the communities. You know, it's not even one community per city. In Berlin you have two, and in Bratislava we have a Progress Bar Hackerspace as well. So if someone is not a good fit for us, they can go to the other place. So it's not about, I don't perceive excluding someone, not accepting them as a member of a community as a bad thing. I think it's important that everyone finds the group of people that they like to and enjoy to interact with. So was the answer to the first question. What was the second? So in Parallelnapolis, Bratislava is only individuals, so also board members who are entrepreneurs who pay a little bit more membership fees. They're individuals, so we don't accept companies as members. We do not refuse sponsorship, so even this conference is sponsored by a few companies. But still it is curated a lot. So most of crypto conferences have, 12 general sponsors and 27, silver sponsors and so on. We try to work with fewer companies if we can, and make sure that these are people who we can stand behind. But as for core membership that pay monthly membership fees and get involved in day-to-day operation of Parallel Police, it's only individual members.
Maybe.
But other communities may use a different model. So
maybe I should just add that, especially in Parallel Police Prague and Bratislava, we do quite strict background checking of members, especially like board members. So, for example, these people cannot be politicians. Also, these people cannot be related to politics in some way, cannot be corrupted, for example. But when we know these people, and we are also willing to accept their privacy, so these donors may be anonymous if they want. Okay, so any answers to these questions?
Yeah, from my side, I think it's very important to come together in areas like this, but we also try to reach people who does not have this understanding yet, and that's why I think it's important to make these barriers not too high, to get new people in, to educate them about these systems, and that's why at our meetup everybody is welcome. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about that, you can do it only if you have the community already. So maybe the question could be like what you do if you have a community already with like the core of it working, then you do a different selection for people, right? But if you are building the core itself, it's much harder. And what we do in Košice is that we let those people come with us, and usually at the beginning there is just work and you get nothing for it, right? And so you automatically lose like 99.999% of people.
I
right?
hate to spoil it to you, but it's the same after 5 years. It's only work.
I think that's a good filter anyway, that you let people do something, and the same like somebody cannot become a board member just because you know him like one day. You'll have to go through the steps, like do everything and get reputation and work on things, and after that they can be one.
One more thing, an important distinction is that this doesn't apply to our, let's say, customers. So like we don't filter who can come and drink coffee in Bitcoin Coffee. We don't screen who is going to the talk at the institute or to the conference. Any one of you, we don't know you personally, every and each one of you. So we are very open. So there is kind of an internal side which consists of the community, but there is also an external side where we kind of serve everyone. It's also different in different communities. Probably the container has a different model. But that doesn't mean either that everyone should be our customer. So what I like to say is that, for example, by our crazy limitation that we only accept crypto, we are meeting them halfway, because this is a filter. You know, if half of the people they realize that they have to, you know, install a wallet and buy some weird money and just in order to get coffee, they turn around and they leave, and it's perfectly fine for us. We would like to teach them how to do it with crypto, but I think this filter is very useful, because what it filters is for openness. So if someone has 10 minutes to, you know, go through the crypto torture and learn something new, we at least know they're open to new experiences. And if they pass this test, they become our customer. But if they don't, we not necessarily want them. So we are not a company, for-profit company, so we're not maximizing, you know, income from selling coffee. We are trying to kind of give this option of attaining more freedom, but they need to signal to us that they're willing to at least have their head open and kind of give it a shot. So they need that there is an investment on the side of our customers that we require of them, and one of the investments is that they are open to this crypto experience, but there are many other things. So for a stranger entering Parallel Polis, even here in Prague, the experience at the beginning is not easy. You know, even if you go to room 77, definitely to crypto container, you enter a space that is not common. It's not, you know, it's not McDonald's. It's not, you know, I want this and then you get it, and it makes people uneasy. It's at the beginning not a pleasant experience, but I think that this is a feature because it's a good filter about who you get as the people who visit the space.
Is it working?
Mhm.
Yeah. But quite obviously, there's representatives of really very different kinds of organizations sitting here on this panel. We have communities that were built on purpose. We have communities that happened. These communities have obviously entirely different goals. Yeah, room 77, for example, of course, we're a bar. Everybody can come in. Everybody is welcome. I hope everybody feels comfortable when they come in. But so we are not vetting anybody or choosing our customers, but I do still have one thing to say about how to choose the members of your community. I think I did this little game before. Do me a favor. Everybody in the audience, just for a second, look into the face of somebody else in the audience. Do me a favor, just do it now. Just look into somebody's face. Right. I estimate there's about 100 people in this room. And I guarantee you that 2 to 5 of you just looked into the face of an undercover government spy. You may think this is paranoid. I come from Germany. I can speak for Germany. No, forget Stasi. We're much better these days. Come on.
We outsourced it.
Germany is. In Germany, we know that the government is literally infiltrating every, however innocent organization. It came out, they infiltrated a student group demonstrating against animal testing of cosmetic products. We have undercover cops in every political organization, and for absolutely sure in every crypto organization. And I'm saying this because I have an advice. If you, whatever kind of community in this area you build around Bitcoin, crypto, freedom, liberty, whatever, you have to expect government spies come and infiltrate you. And the best way to spot them is they are usually the really radical guys who suggest to do criminal stuff. This is also not kidding. the majority of people still looks at Bitcoiners and crypto enthusiasts and anarchists and whatever they call themselves in a who, not sure, are they evil or are they not evil? The state apparatus wants us to look evil. Of course, they send people in who radicalize us. So if you form any kind of community around these topics, and you have a new, very enthusiastic member who keeps suggesting that we should hack the banks to show how insecure they are, or that we should distribute these stolen credit card numbers to show how insecure MasterCard is, you have quite a good chance that you spotted the government spy already. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Or they binge watched Mr. Robot. Or they binge watched Mr. Robot for the past weekend.
Okay, so now it's my turn. I'm going to ask a question. So, what was initial stimulus, like initial reason? You just said, "Let's fucking do it," and you created your community. What was the stimulus, the initial stimulus? You did it.
So from my side, we just thought it's not everything is happening in Berlin, and we looked around in the west of Germany, and there was nearly nothing. Just one small meetup in Cologne. It's years ago now. It was one of the first in West Germany, and that's why we decided to bring our area closer to this cryptocurrency, and that's the main reason. And also our co-founder, the Linux Hotel, is running education since 15 years now. They are also interested in this field, cryptocurrencies. That's why we decided to run this concept of seminar workshop portal. Yeah.
Yeah, for us, it was a mix of different things. So there was the Polytechnics Academy project, but also when I came back from London to Barcelona, I realized that there were like a lot of developers, a lot of blockchain companies present, but they were not connected. It was very, very decentralized, a little bit too much. So I thought having one spot, one central spot where everyone connects, everyone collaborates, everyone meet each other, everyone knows what's happening. Then from there you can have project emerge, you can have more coherence. So that's one of the main drive, yeah.
And by the way, I think it's cool to hang out in online chats or forums and blogs, but you definitely need a place where you can get in touch on an I&I level, and very important.
Well, I think I already told like the whole story, but I like this idea what you were saying, that the forums are nice, but the real other filter is to meet the person in person, because body language can tell you a lot. So if you find that person, that something's weird about that person, then it's probably like that. That's most of the time like that. It's maybe because the ideology or the way of thinking of the person is different than yours. So it's another.
In case of Parallel Prague, it's quite notorious, but you and Juraj came and told us that you got a cool hackerspace in Bratislava called Progress Bar. You guys should have something similar in Prague. There are just like these hardcore hardware hackerspace, but not that cool as Progress Bar is. So I say, okay, these guys are inspiring.
Makerspace.
And we know almost shit about what they are saying, so we should manage a place where we will gather as smart guys as these are, and they will tell us everything. But one important point was when we really attended Hackerspace, and we saw how exclusive place it is. In terms of it is hardly achievable for people from outside. And when we found this house, because at the beginning we were also searching for some 100 square meters flat that is possible to finance from some just small membership fees of a small group of people. But when we found this house, we realized that we can totally reverse it, make it totally open, make it as much inclusive as possible. and this was triggered to think totally differently about the concept of hackerspace and elaborate this parallel polis concept.
Yeah, for us, the progress was there was a lot of talking for years, and sooner or later, a few of us get fed up with talking. We just wanted to experiment and build and create, and so it was actually started by two people completely funding that themselves, wasting all their Bitcoin, and setting up the space on their own. And whoever liked it stuck to it, and who didn't. That was our filter as well.
So for me personally, personal motivation was that I was envious that Prague had parallel polis that I kind of helped to build. So Progress Bar was an inspiration for parallel polis in Prague, but then I realized that I don't want Progress Bar, I want parallel polis in Bratislava as well. So it was the same motivation inverted. So because every time when I arrived to Prague, to me, Prague doesn't exist. It's a totally boring city. The only thing that I do, I get out of the train, I get to parallel polis, and then I spend all the time here. So I wanted that, I wanted to cut short the train ride to Prague and to kind of make this experience walking distance from my apartment. So that was a personal motivation. Another personal motivation, I cannot speak for all our members because everyone has their own reasons for sure. But for me, I think that if I didn't do it, if I didn't participate and try to build this crypto ecosystem now, it would be like selling dog food in the 90s. The internet revolution was happening. Most projects were bullshit. There was a lot of talk, a lot of also Lambos. Everyone that started to work for an internet technological startup got the keys to a new car and an apartment. So that was this negative part, but still that was when the internet was really created and when it really bloomed. And if now when this crypto revolution and using these technologies for increasing personal freedom, which is the real reason why we are doing it. If I was, I don't know, doing websites, it wouldn't be challenge, and I probably I would be pissed off in 10 years that I did something that was not as important and as fun, even though I know that most projects will probably fail. So I want to be part of this. And why not start, I don't know, next shitcoin or do an ICO and do a non-profit, which is totally crazy, is that with parallel polis, I get exposed and I help to build the whole ecosystem. So I don't need to invest my time in this one idea, one company, but my goal, my personal goal, but many people in parallel polis share this goal, is to improve the ecosystem. So one of the good outcomes of this project is that we get these board members, they support us, but they also interact together. They create companies together, they create projects together, and we are not in the stage of competition right now. It doesn't matter who wins, if there's one company making ATMs and another company making ATMs, 90% of the time they should cooperate, not compete, because we all are invested, both monetarily, but also our energy is invested in this crypto community. And it doesn't matter who wins. I don't care if this or that wallet is the best, or this hardware wallet is the best, or this cryptocurrency is the best. If any of these projects actually delivers on this on their promise, I'm happy. And if I can say that I was somehow a part of that, I'm happy as well. So that's the real reason.
Thank you. Now, question from the audience.
So it seems like your different communities have these different sort of like modules that you piece together, the cafe, this, that, the other thing. One thing I've been thinking about is how like a hostel could serve as like a pretty strong socializing of these ideas to sort of normal people, as well as providing services to crypto travelers. So obviously we have the crypto hotel who can give us some insights, some learnings, and I'm also interested in the other communities. Have you explore this as one of a potential expansion of your current community?
To be honest, I didn't get the question in general. What you want to know which target audience or?
So the question for the communities that don't do a hostel, why not? Is there a specific reason? Have you considered it and found it not to be a good idea? And if it's not a good idea, why not? And you running a hotel, which
Yeah.
is more or less the same thing as a hostel, slightly less social perhaps.
So
Do you suggest the other communities do that? Is it successful?
to be honest, the hotel exists already before the blockchain hotel. It's a rebranding, so we just occupied it, kind of, and it only we decided to do this because our co-founder is the Linux Hotel, and they are doing this since 15 years. And the hotel was there, and the co-working space was there, and we kind of rebranded it and brought the communities to there. So that's the main reason why this was called a hotel. So, yeah.
I guess I can go on that because so the academy has an aspect of co-living, so there might be an ability of people to stay at the space directly if they go through the program. But also in the neighborhood, one thing that we thought of doing is maybe rent one flat or two flats. So that, for example, if you're a blockchain company, like most of us work remotely, right? You want to meet face to face at some point. And Barcelona is an amazing city, so offer the possibility like you come for a week, you work in the co-working, and then you stay in an apartment next to it. So that's definitely something that we thought about, but it's still very early in the process to know exactly how and how much and all the details. But yeah, I think that's a good service to offer. It might be expensive and complicated to do, but it's definitely a good thing.
So for us, we're allowing people to sleep on our couch, and we're also building a special container that you can remotely book. Sooner or later that will be ready. My personal dream, because I actually agree with you, is to have something like a capsule hotel in containers that you can actually move to conferences, etc., and actually take the whole environment with you.
I forgot to mention when I was telling what's new in Parapolis Prague. As I told about a new co-working place, there is one small room that we have established as a dormitory with 4 beds. So especially when some people from different parapolises or other communities come, they are totally welcome to use this small apartment to stay overnight. So yeah, this is our for this congress we use it for the first time. We're completing the beds right in the Thursday afternoon or evening. So it's also freshly new feature of Parapolis here to save money for Airbnbs and so on. So you can just contribute to Parapolis and stay almost in the house.
I think that hotels have a really good opportunities to help people socialize. But what I realized that most of the socializing happens really in the hotel bar and in the cafeteria. Sometimes you invite people over to party to your room, but most of the socializing happens in the cafeteria. So it is a very low-cost way to just extract what is the essential part that builds the community from the whole hotel concept into the cafeteria itself. But of course, if people would like to experiment also with accommodation, I think it's a good idea, and I think people should explore all the options that are there. Another thing that not a lot of people talk about, and I think is a great idea is having a crypto sauna, which we would like to do. For some people, it's a privacy issue because mostly people go naked into the sauna, but our will be surveillance-free zone when we do it. But that's also a way how people socialize. So I think. There is nothing wrong with experimenting with these ideas and trying them out. What I would like to ask of any one of you, if you do it, please share your experience. A hotel in or a crypto hotel in Essen is not a competition for a crypto hotel in Prague. So if we can learn something from other people's experiences and apply them, then our community can grow more. So for me, there are infinite number of learning opportunities from all these other ideas on what we can build and what we can do. I think a hotel or hostel is a good idea. Sauna is a great idea. There are many other.
One part of our building is also a shared apartment with 8 rooms, an own kitchen, and of course also sauna. So for a hackathon or something like this, you can come there and spend, for example, 5 days and nights together and be productive. And we also have special conditions then for developers, for example. Feel free to join.
Okay, thank you. Now I have a question. So last week I spent 4 days in the Panamanian jungle rainforest in the community called Kaluyala, and it's completely independent community out of the government, out of the state, in the center of jungle. They produce their electricity. They have a satellite internet. Everything they eat there, they produce there. So they're almost 100% sustainable. So this is exactly my question I'd like to ask you. What about your sustainability? So do you care about it, or do you have some mechanism? Especially, I know that in Container you really care about this topic. So do you care about sustainability and how to survive longer time in the future as your community or your place?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I have just a very brief comment on this. My and all our experience in Parapolis. Parapolis is by design experimental project, and when you want to sustain, you have to still progress, develop, and experiment with new things. Otherwise, you will probably die soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, not to just remain on something that works and if is approved. So okay, we just repeat it. Is not a good idea, and you still have to progress and test. The same is with this congress. We even though it seems that everything is perfect and tuned, and we can just repeat the same model every year, we inevitably will have to innovate. We will have to search for new ways how to create program and so on. So I think that's the challenge for any community sitting here.
So for us, one of the core tenets of our project is this ability to move instead of getting into trouble. And mobility forces you to have some preparation, so to speak. So number one, we have a specific laid-away budget for emergencies. That is the financial sustainability aspect. So we have a contingency budget if we run into trouble for too long or too much. Then we have because when you plan to be mobile, you might end up somewhere where infrastructure isn't available or not available yet, because it takes time to set up infrastructure. So we're actually trying to have like some minimal water, wastewater, energy, communication setup that allows us to at least exist. It's not comfortable, but it allows us to exist. And as soon as we get access to the infrastructure or scale our own sources, then it becomes comfortable. So there's like this, like a backup power system. We have that for water, we have that for wastewater, energy, communication, and so on.
Thank you.
What I also like, there's a distinction between sustainability in order to be a long-term project so that you don't burn your resources. Other people mean something else by sustainability, meaning, you know, you grow your own food, generate enough electricity and so on. For us, we think that it's not such a big problem to rely on outside markets, and we kind of would like to use division of labor. These are good inventions. So for us, the more important part is sustainability of the project in terms of the community, that we still have people who are actually interested in this project, and also financial sustainability, so we don't, you know, burn volunteer time and, you know, run out of our mental and physical energy. Which is, we didn't reach this point yet. We rely a lot on volunteer work, and we need to increase the level of sustainability in this way. Also, though, this has other side, which means that if we realize that we are not sustainable, first of all, it's our fault. We don't do something right. So we perceive it as a signal, which comes from the from the energy management, let's say, but it includes finance as well. So for me, if there's a point when we run out of money, run out of volunteer energy, I'm totally happy to close the space and do something else. So I don't think that sustainability is the only goal that we should strive for. All projects have their place in time and space and in the market, and companies go bankrupt all the time when something better comes. So for me, I would be very happy if we get outcompeted by something better. I just hope that it is better.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to answer something from my side. For us, sustainability means to have, if we have small projects, try to create them in a way, thinking about the worst case scenario, and always thinking that, okay, this project cannot be that big that it will break our neck if it fails. So that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah, we are still in the age of experience, I think. So, yeah.
So I think the question has been answered for the most part for the German projects, but for the various polis existing and upcoming, where does the initial funding come from? I mean, if you look around, the infrastructure is really good, and I'm sure there is quite a lot of money put into these beautiful places. Where does it come from?
So I think it's a question to me. There are two concepts. One is Parapolis, represented by the building and a program it contains. It's got one budget, and the Congress, it has one own budget as well, which is separated from Parapolis daily operation. So Parapolis on one hand, in terms of the daily operations, costs about 350,000 crowns per month, which is in euros, like, help me to recalculate, 13,000 euros per month, which is the basic cost we have to bear every month. And at the very beginning, when the costs were lower, it was from significant part covered by our board of donors, which is type of membership where usually people from business and some successful businessmen help us to cover the cost with their strictly done set fees. But beside that, we got other memberships. For example, coworking has its own membership that helps to cover other activities. Bitcoin Coffee is almost around zero. It was always losing concept, but now we are getting closer and closer that it's at least on zero. Hopefully, one day it will even generate money. Then when we had very hard times, when we owed a lot of money, really a lot of money, like 3 monthly budgets, we helped with some commercial events in Polis, where we try to curate which companies come. Some fails happened as well. For example, the National Railroad operator had some event there which we didn't know about because it was via some agency. So we learned the lesson and we asked more questions before it. But it happens when we have really financial troubles. When there are some. Now I think we are in a shape where it works and we've got some. It's not bad. We already know how to keep the budget not too tight. And there are other projects that sometimes generate money, sometimes don't. Congress for last 2-3 years brings always some money to Parapolis as well because it sometimes generates money. So this is also some significant income that we can then invest to projects like Dicentrack as well, etc. So the budget has really lots of boxes, and it's always a question of good luck, good program, a good exchange price of crypto, etc., etc. That are factors that have some footprints on our financial condition.
I would like to add, well, Parapolis in Bratislava is very similar to where we get our money from, but I think I would rephrase the question because if people ask this question like this, it's I think it most often leads to a lot of trouble. So the right question to ask is, who are we serving? Who are we helping? What are we improving? So we are here for the community, so community in a way has to generate some income. Usually they buy hipster flat whites and bulletproof coffees and pay for entrance fees for events and so on. So this is one source, but we don't want to ask a question, how do we get money from the community? We want to ask, what can we do for the community? And then the second part is that we can charge for. But the first part is more important. What are we actually bringing? So even the board members, we are not asking, who is willing to give us money. We are asking, okay, we are building ecosystems. Who are the people that have their interest in these ecosystems being improved? Are there crypto investors, meaning investors that invested in cryptocurrencies themselves? Are there investors that invest in companies? Are these people entrepreneurs who would like more freedom in entrepreneurship? Are these people who are successful in life and want to improve their personal freedom? So again, the question to ask is not where to get money from, but who do we serve, what do we provide, and what is the value of that? And then that answers all the money questions. And then the second part is luck.
Thank you. I have a special question that may be interesting for all people. So the question is, did you have any problems with the government, or did you feel any pressure from the government? So, especially German guys.
let's make it quick. From our side, not special problems, special issues, but Germany in general is kind of 19th century area for crypto, and we are not providing any. We are, as I said, conference and meetups and workshops, and they are not. There is no reason why they can ban it or something like this. It's about education and come together. So yeah. We don't have any own token or something like this.
Yeah. So Jürgen probably has a different opinion about
I can clearly state that Room 77 is the most tax audited bar on the planet. This is also due to lack of knowledge on the side of the tax people. Like they see Bitcoin, and you must be a tax evader. Whereas I'm like, I mean, we don't accept credit cards or anything. That means we accept fiat cash and Bitcoin. And I told tax people from the tax office, tax auditors, that I take it as a personal insult that they think I'm so stupid to cheat taxes with the 5 or 10% that we make in Bitcoin and not with the 90 or 95% we make in cash fiat money. Yeah, that's literally all I can say about that. Yeah, the German government is very unfriendly towards Bitcoin. I think it's the most hostile, Bitcoin hostile government, at least in Europe.
One good example is the local Bitcoin. They canceled their service in Germany 3 or 4 years ago, and I think we have 4 countries in the world where local Bitcoin does not act. One is North Korea, maybe, and one is Germany, and that's ridiculous, I think.
And no exchange in Germany. I mean, that speaks for...
We have one. That's why we founded one, bitcointreff.de 4 years ago. So you can use it instead of local Bitcoin for German areas.
Mm-hmm. For us, we experienced trouble in a way that every Slovak entrepreneur experiences trouble, meaning we wanted a simple building construction permit for our renovation, and it took more than a year. It's not probably because anyone is hostile against us, it's just that for some weird reason you need permits to do basic home renovation or building renovation. So far, Slovak government doesn't attack us specifically. On the other hand, they bother everyone in general. So our trouble with the government is sadly the same that a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of persons experience. There is of course the whole situation about crypto. We have probably the worst law on crypto taxation, even worse than in Germany, because you have to pay taxes on profits, but you cannot offset losses. So you always have to pay positive taxes. The problem, not the problem, the feature is that Slovak government is thankfully very inefficient in doing anything, including enforcement of laws. So I like to say, I say this after experiencing the Panamanian government and how they function. It is often a very good thing that the government doesn't work and the government services don't work, because then they can cause less trouble. Of course, it's not a universal truth, but for some people that want to improve the function of the government through electronization or through, for example, I don't think that the tax laws are that different between Germany and Czech Republic or Slovakia. The problem is that the tax office in Germany actually does something and works, which Jörg experienced firsthand. And It's the same with, for example, in Germany, if you download a movie or a music from torrent from your own IP address, you will get a fine of 2 or 3,000 euros, and it's very hard to fight it. We have the exactly same law, but no one is able to enforce it because they don't know how. So it's not about what is written in the magic documents of the government that guys in parliament vote for, but what the government does and actually does. So for us, the experience is that we're sometimes very sad and sometimes very happy that the government doesn't work that much.
So you need to pay more taxes, then it works, maybe.
Exactly.
So,
Everyone.
so Martin, what about the Czech tax office and the Paralelní Polis Prague?
Yeah, I can tell that Paralelní Polis is privileged by the state, not prosecuted by privileged. It's strange, and we didn't expect this when we founded it. We hoped that there will be lots of clash and conflicts, and we'll be chaining our bodies to the entrance in front of the TV cameras and so on, but nothing like this happens really, and the opposite happens. We are privileged. So for example, when there came the obligation of electronic evidence of payments, we just put on our door statement that we will not do that simply, and that we don't agree with that. And when the officers that should enforce this rule came, they just started the procedure 2.5 years ago and never made the second step, like to continue with it. Or they just made a protocol, and that's how it finished. Or I don't know if finished, but
So far.
So far, that was the only action they have taken. And there's one interesting story as well. There came a professional lawyer to the coffee late in the evening, and he bought a glass of wine, and he insisted that it must be possible to pay in Czech cash, because this is how the law is written. When you provide some services in Czech Republic, you are obliged to accept Czech currency. And there was Roman Tic, one of the co-founders, who met this guy, and he said, sorry, I can't help you. I only can do that. I can pay it for you. But he said, no, I don't want you to invite me. I simply want to pay. and Roman Tic said, okay, so give me your note, the banknote. He gave it to him. He smashed it to pieces, and he said, huh, that's done. Okay. So the guy called police. That Roman Tic is damaging Czech currency, and later on, just the Czech National Bank stated that it's irrelevant because the value of the banknote is like 0.2 crowns. So it's such a small damage that they won't do anything about that. So the state never made any significant action against us. We had a couple of controls like hygiene. All these aunts from the office were kind, very closing eyes. Yes, we understand that you are non-profit, and let's just put something small, some small breaches there. And
yeah, we had the same experience with the.
It's not fashionable, but yeah, that's how it is.
Maybe I should just clarify that Paralelní Polis Prague is the only organization in the Czech Republic which publicly boycott and ignore public boycotts and ignores EET, which is called Electronic Evidence of Transaction, which basically means that all companies, all restaurants, all bars in the Czech Republic, they need to send immediately information about each cash transaction to the Czech tax office, and Paralelní Polis, because of their ideas and protecting privacy, decided to officially publicly boycott EET. So this is quite unique because a lot of people from Czech Republic, they used to visit Paralelní Polis and just say how it's possible, how it's possible they done like a completely boycott, like a Czech law. And we are just doing that all the time.
And,
So-
and in Slovakia, well, we don't have anything with the government yet because of the building, right? But when we were creating the organization, we had trouble with the bank because we had written that we will be doing educational stuff in economics as well. And they were like, oh, they want to tell people how this stuff works. We're not sure we want to allow them to have a bank account. So it took it was really interesting. And after that, the ladies were talking to each other like, oh, look at them. They're like some IT guys. They will teach Excel or whatever. So let them open, nothing like that. So that's a weird story about the banks.
Okay, so unfortunately, we are out of the time, so we have to finish the discussion. So thank you guys a lot for coming here. And thank you a lot for your question.